Good afternoon. Stephen T. Webb, President of the Sacramento Branch NAACP, but I'm here as a concerned citizen and also a grad from UC Davis. I do give my support to Linda Kategi. I think she's brought a lot of good things to the university, as well as diversity, as well as all the good things that she has done. We continue to support her, and we hope that this board will make sure that things will be done in the light and not into the dark. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Cheyenne Azizi. I'm a fifth-year neurobiology student at UC Davis. I simply hope that sheer accountability is held against those individuals who are involved with conflicts of interest. Not doing so would be a disservice to the thousands of students as well as the thousands of faculty members. The students and faculty who are the main reason UC Davis is ranked the way it is by how the chancellor said herself. For those puzzled, a chancellor who makes more than President Obama should have no reason to join for-profits, doubling her income, other than to show that students are the main source of income in this pyramid scheme that the few individuals that aren't held accountable at the top of the pyramid will ever face. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sarah Flores, and I'm a STEM undergrad student at UC Davis. Public university administrators feel justified in their participation in corporate activity despite their position as leaders within the public education system. Their beliefs are a system of the flaws inherent in the policies governing their activities. The public education system needs radical change. I come as a student who feels negatively impacted by the corporate greed of my university's leader. I'm a student demanding accountability from the system meant to benefit the public interest. Thank you.
Hello all, my name is Ruben Gil. I am the Identity Development Coordinator for Yical Cuyum, which is a program that emphasizes retention of the Chicanx Latinx community, also known as the Chicano Latino community at UC Davis. And my main concern here, coming here today, is that Chancellor Kategi keeps reiterating diversity. And I will admit that the Chicanx Latinx community is 21% of the campus population, but we also have one of the lowest retention and graduation rates at 27%. My question is, how can you spend so much time promoting diversity but never actually caring about whether or not we graduate on this campus? I think that this neglect of underrepresented groups comes from prioritizing for-profit, for personal gain involvements in other boards. The Chancellor mentioned the AB 540 Undocumented Student Center without ever mentioning the fact that that only came about because of student activism, strong student activism from SPEAK particularly, which is the Undocumented Student Support Group. The Center for African Diaspora Student Success, that center, can we talk about where that's located? Y'all gave the African diaspora and student population a little floor on top of a craft center. So I wouldn't necessarily call that a win for this population, who also has a very low retention rate. So I think if we stop focusing on making money through textbooks from students, which is, at the end of the day, regardless of what the chancellor said, when you join a board, you're there to help them make profit, to help their stockholders. And what does that mean for students? That means more money out of them, and they're already starving. They're already fighting to make rent. They're already taking 3 jobs to make it in this university. And I just think it's deplorable that we're even considering her actions red herring. So that's it.
Hello, committee. My name is James Kreidler, and I'm an alumni from UC Davis. I first want to commend you all for having this meeting. I think it's a very important issue that's long overdue. To speak on the Wiley & Sons Association that Chancellor Kategi was a part of, if you believe her rhetoric that she tried to lower textbook prices with her association with the board, then she should not have taken money from Wiley & Sons in the first place, because Wiley & Sons profits come or are composed of the unjust and high textbook prices. So for her to take that money is a direct conflict of interest. As well as I want to just bring out the point that the UC system is not going to regulate itself. It is up to you to regulate the UC. They take public money annually, tens of millions of dollars annually, and they are not well regulated, or they do not have a close eye of transparency. So please, let's continue this issue. Thank you.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Carolina Gomez, and I am a third-year STEM undergraduate student and woman of color from UC Davis. I am also a member of SPEAK at UC Davis, which stands for Scholars Promoting Education, Awareness, and Knowledge. And as some of my peers have already mentioned, we are a support group on campus for undocumented students and allies. And I want to reiterate the fact that that center largely came about as a result of student-led efforts. And personally, I think that it is time that the public and members of the university have a say in determining the policies that keep public education leaders accountable to the people that they are supposed to serve. Students commit thousands of dollars in tuition and fees to institutions that are supposedly committed to public education, yet they continuously fail to provide the educational environment that students deserve. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emily Brenninger. I'm a fourth-year PhD student at University of California, Davis. I'd like to start by pointing out that it's not terribly surprising that corporate executives are speaking out in support of Chancellor Katehi, while the students and the wider public are condemning her actions, given the business-type relationship that she has with these corporations. I'd also like to highlight a continual pattern of Chancellor Katehi taking credit for all of the hard work done by faculty, students, and staff to raise the profile of our university, but then the way in which she is quick to deflect responsibility when asked for accountability for participating in moonlighting activities. I'd also like to respond to an earlier comment about looking into this as creating a problem where there isn't one. This problem is structural, and it runs throughout the University of California as well as public education at large across the nation. At this moment in time, there are no consequences that are consequential. I don't believe an apology is enough. But California has always been at the vanguard of progress, and it's time that we take a stand against the corporatization of the neoliberal university. And at this moment in time, as a student who is completely disempowered within this process, I'm asking you to please stand on the right side of history and stand with students in demanding accountability for unethical behaviors among our senior administrators. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I'm a fourth-year undergraduate majoring in Man Econ. I have been highly involved in the university through being a student athlete and participating in several internships on campus. I have had the opportunity to know Chancellor Katehi through my years as a student here at UC Davis. As a chancellor, it is very easy to hide from students you serve, but Chancellor Katehi takes it upon herself to get to know the student body on a personal level. She isn't just a name that we get emails from, but as someone that can be seen all over campus, whether at an academic meeting, supporting our athletic teams, or at her weekly office hours, which are open to all students. She is eager to work with students to better the university and is open to hearing student voices. At such a large university, it is amazing that students have the opportunity to work directly with the chancellor if they have ways to better the school. I am currently working with her and several other students to increase the academic standards at UC Davis. She has been instrumental in helping us gain access to the resources we need to make this project possible. She has taken full interest in our endeavor and is eager to help us out in any way she can. Over the last few weeks, UC Davis has gone through a lot. There have been many protests organized as people are unhappy with some past actions taken in regards to whether or not a chancellor can sit on a committee. While everyone is entitled to their own opinion and freedom of speech, the protesting has taken a turn for the worse. I have witnessed bullying and racist comments towards people who support the chancellor. Just as supporters are respecting the right of the protesters, I ask that this respect is reciprocated. It has been a pleasure getting to know Chancellor Katehi, and I am looking forward to continue working with her during my last quarter at UC Davis.
Hello, and thank you for having so many students come and speak to you today. My name is Natalia Custodio, and I am a third-year design student at UC Davis undergraduate, and I am also a member of the Chicano-Chicana community. I'm here to talk about not so much taking a side, but more of some of the good that has come out of Chancellor Katehi at UC Davis. So one of the big topics that has been talked about is the transparency and that inclusion of students and faculty staff getting to be on a more personal level. Some of the methods of transparency that I've seen her actually be involved in is helping create this concept of Meals with Merak, which is a huge initiative that is supposed to allow any kind of student to have a breakfast meal with provosts, deans, professors, anyone that is currently selected for the time being, and there's at least one faculty staff member every single week that offers their time to do so. A second huge initiative that actually happened last quarter was called Envision Davis, and it was a giant online forum that allowed students to express their feelings with any type of situation going on at Davis. There was undergraduate education started off by creating a list of different kinds of questions that would be asked towards students to start a conversation about how they feel about their student experience, their professional experience outside of Davis. And I know that undergraduate education has taken that information and given it to the chancellor and her administrators to try to figure out a way to get those type of questions and comments that students have had into the light and to have activism towards those working units. And lastly, as the person before me has spoken about, was the office hours that she holds every single week in the Memorial Union on campus. I myself, about 2 years ago, went to her saying that I had a couple concerns about student experience and the way that professors interact with others, and she has let me to have multiple meetings with other faculty and advisors, taking my idea, taking my the kind of things that I'm looking for. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Centeny, and I'm an undergraduate at UC Davis. And I would just like to say that I think that students should have more say in what happens, like what the decisions that chancellors make, because we are helping to pay their salaries, and it's sort of like we're all sitting around and we're talking about you know, what the UC system and what the CSU, like what the board is going to do, but nobody's talking about like the students having any say in that. So we're having executives monitor executives, which seems to me to be a little bit of a conflict of interest. So, you know, Napolitano says that what Chancellor Katehi has done is okay, but I mean, Napolitano makes quite a bit of money too, and like this, I think that the students should just have like more say in what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank you for letting our voices be heard. My name is Rebecca Mata, and I am the first-generation college student at the University of California. As a woman of color in STEM at UC Davis, I feel it is unethical and immoral for executives to sit on outside boards when our campus continues to be unsafe for and exploitative for students and workers. Until students and workers are safe on their campus and their needs are appropriately met, and as a student, I guarantee they are not, executives such as the chancellor should not be taking outside board positions. We as students of the University of California are tired of missing classes to interrupt this institutional cycle of corruption. We are calling upon our elected officials to end this cycle and uphold the integrity of public education systems. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christian. I'm a third-year undergraduate at UC Davis, and thank you for being here. And I'll try to make this quick as possible. So I feel like a lot of what's been going on, the protesting and a lot of how the chancellor is portrayed in the media has been dehumanizing her. And I've gotten to know her personally, and I can say, so because I've gotten to know her personally, I realize that she's human, just like all of us, and as humans we make mistakes, and she has acknowledged her mistakes. And I just wanted to reiterate that what Mr. Rocky Chavez said earlier, and what the president of the UCs have said, Janet Napolitano, that the mistakes that the chancellor has made are not reason enough for her resignation. And I feel like a lot of the protesting that's been going on by some of the students spawns from not a good enough understanding of what's going on because of the one-sided media that's in and around the campus. And so I just want to urge a lot of students who aren't familiar with the issue to get to know the issue better so that they can make more constructive criticism rather than just outright harassment of the administration. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jan Marie Garcia. I am an assistant adjunct professor at the Betty Irene Moore School of Nursing at UC Davis. I'm a half-time professor, part-time employee. No one has asked me to come here this morning to testify on Chancellor Katehi's behalf. I am a proud graduate of the UCSF School of Medicine, a pediatrician, and the UC Berkeley School of Public Health. I come also as a community leader and activist in the Davis community. Chancellor Katehi has been exemplary from my perspective in reaching out to disenfranchised and marginalized folks in the city, both on campus and in the city, to make justice and to do justice in the name of UC Davis. I agree with Assemblyperson Olson and others that there's great potential to do harm to UC Davis in particular by further scapegoating Chancellor Katehi. As has been said, UC chancellors have to be fundraisers for students and for the university. We, as a state, have walked away from the public funding of higher education. The governor and the state legislatures and the Board of Regents have walked away from that as well. Regional leaders and philanthropists have trusted Chancellor Katehi's judgment to the extent that the successful $1 billion campaign in 2013 was ended a year early. I have been impressed by Chancellor Katehi's tenderness and reaching out to disenfranchised communities. I listened to her talk about African American students after the recent hate crimes on campus. Unlike the chancellor at University of Missouri, she was on that campus at the rally listening to the critiques. Just a couple weeks ago, I heard her talk about how tired the African American students are, that they can't be bringing everything they needed to bring to their schoolwork, having to try and ensure her safety. I've never heard of this kind of leadership or seen it. This is a systems level issue.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Lou Vizmara. I'm a retired interventional cardiologist, but today I'm here as a parent of a young son who has autism. And I'm also the co-founder of the UC Davis Mind Institute. I'd like to acknowledge Chancellor Katehi's incredible leadership, not only in promoting neuroscience and development of the Mind Institute, but also on campus. She's been very instrumental in supporting students who have autism and other special needs. I'd also just like to acknowledge, though, the students who have testified here on both sides of the issues. I think their comments and their passion and their commitment speaks well for our region and for our state, and I'd like to congratulate them on their involvement. Also, as a cardiologist, having spent much time in academic medicine, the practice of being involved really in all types of employment and outside activities is completely pervasive in the field of the faculty in academic medicine as well. So thank you for this hearing.
Hello, my name is Coleman Sawyer. I'm a double major undergraduate in history and comparative literature. And I guess I just start with an anecdote. My first quarter at UC Davis, on my 19th birthday, I was pepper sprayed in the face and jailed for supporting students and walking to my Anthro 3 discussion. As I think that attests to the leadership of this chancellor and kind of contradicts the assertions on a very fundamental and structural level that that Chancellor Kadehi does show leadership capability. I also want to say that nationally, UC Davis has gone down in rankings, and I think this adequately reflects Chancellor Kadehi's conflict of interest, her profiteering motives that directly contradict and undermine the very achievements she says she wishes to achieve as Chancellor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members. My name is Matt Gallagher, and I'm here because I'm a prospective law student at the University of California, Davis. And I think the Chancellor's actions are unexcusable. Assemblymember McCarty, you asked a question. What was the benefit derived of her serving on these boards to the university? And she was unable to answer that question. All too often, we as students are supposed to be accountable, but who is here to hold our administrators and our chancellors and our provosts accountable? If you guys do not do so, who can? And I bring this before you today because listen to the students. And if you think these students represent the entire populace or the entire constituency of the campus, I encourage you to go take a 25, 30-minute drive to the campus and really speak to the students. Because where is the student voice in all this? Who is there to represent them? They may not have the money, they may not have the fancy suits or the lobbyists, but their voice needs to be heard. Because student fees are going up, student tuition is going up, classes are impacted, and this is a California university. And I encourage you to really listen to the voice of the students and really be there to represent the students. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Francisco Cruz, student at the University of California, Riverside. I'm here with to provide full support to UC Davis students. We support them all the way. I think this is more an issue that goes further than just UC Davis. It's a problem that our chancellors are taking this pay positions as on boards, regardless of what they are, because it takes away time for what the taxpayers are paying them for them to do. Also, I see a lot of statements supporting Chancellor Kadehi, but I think that they're just to divert the actual issue that you guys have at hand. Basically, chancellors sitting on those boards. That's another issue that they should be handled separately, not here. The other thing, they're talking about how much she has done for her campus, undermining the work that students have done. Especially, she said she opened the AB 540 undocumented student. That was actually efforts to get funding from Giant Napolitano, and that was all for online campuses. So it's pretty bad that you're taking credit for that. And I think I think it's time for legislators to step up and try to regulate this type of activities by our chancellors or presidents from different universities. And because it seems like some of the campuses or systems are not doing it, so it's time for this legislation to step up and create some policy to make sure that this does not go on any further. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, my name is Chris Warden. I serve as the Vice President of Public Policy for the Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. As an organization whose economic developments are intertwined with the success of every post-secondary educational institution in this region, including UC Davis, we followed closely the issues that you raised today, and we offer our perspective for your consideration. We recognize we have to hold people in public life accountable. They hold a sacred place of trust. They must meet a higher standard than those in private life. And that's why we're grateful that you're considering systemic reforms. But we also wanted to offer our support for Chancellor Kadehi. Few people have careers without errors, and before you respond or render judgment, it's always helpful to assess how people who have these errors respond. Do they acknowledge the mistake? Do they show that they're willing to learn from it? Have they remedied the situation or made good? The second question is whether the mistake is symptomatic of an inability to fulfill the larger duties with which one is charged in his or her position. As you heard earlier, the Chancellor has clearly recognized the error and taken every step to remedy her error. So I don't want to belabor that first question, but I do want to go to the second question about her ability to fulfill her duties. And on that metric, she's been exemplary. The Metro Chamber is about to take 330 elected business and civic leaders to Washington, D.C. as part of our Capital to Capital program, where we're going to make our case for the region, including asking for federal funds. Anytime we can leverage federal dollars, we boost the region. And seemingly every week, UC Davis sends us another notice about a grant that they've received, which is how they've exceeded $700 million per year, 4 years running. And if they're not receiving money, They're receiving another high ranking or distinction of note, many with global significance. Last week, Forbes named UC Davis #1 for STEM education for women. In addition, every economic development effort that we lead, including helping our community partners bring investment into the region, hinges upon the strength of having a quality post-secondary institution, including one with strong research capabilities. UC Davis is dominant in this space. Its reputation is unblemished and its results are unparalleled. The Metro Chamber also every year does a study mission to another city. Last year we went to Chicago. This year we're going to the Twin Cities. And we've had conversations with these folks.
Thank you. Your time is up.
They're heralded as a crown jewel. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lema Sawez, and I'm a transfer student at UC Davis. I've been one of the students who's been occupying the 5th floor of Marac Hall for about 25 days now. My reason for, first of all, being involved is my understanding that Linda Katehi's track record isn't just of a few errors. It's been ever since she started her time at UC Davis with the 32% fee increase for students when upwards of 500 students had occupied Marac Hall and were also reprimanded and arrested for those things, actions that we as students are currently taking at the moment, just in a different light. But this also speaks to a larger structural issue. We understand that this is a UC Regent issue. We understand that this system is one that's based on capitalistic gains. It's one that has diminished the democratic voices of students when they have chosen to divest from certain entities all around the world. And when we talk about Chancellor Katehi taking the boards and sitting on all of these boards, including the King Abdulaziz board in Saudi Arabia, where women are more likely to be educated but are less likely to be in the fields of STEM. So I genuinely am curious what your advocacy is for women globally, but also on your campuses as well. I would also like to take into question the donation that she has chosen to make for a scholarship fund rather than direct financial aid for her students to receive, and instead creating a process for them so that she can essentially essentially create a tax write-off for herself while creating another system, another avenue of distress for students to basically get financial aid. And this is an entirely structural issue. This is an issue of her defenders and everyone who is involved. She can choose to say that this is an issue of not only herself and of her entire team when she comes to speak to us, but when you choose to be the face of our university, we choose you to be our chancellor, and we trust you with those decisions that we essentially put in your hands. And when students come to you with sexual assault cases and you mishandle them, it completely erases these women that you are claiming to defend in these STEM fields. I apologize.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Becca Payne. I am a junior transfer student studying technocultural studies and English at UC Davis. I am not only a student, but a concerned older sister of younger siblings that want to go to the UCs. I come to you as a protester as well from the 5th floor of Marac, and just want to acknowledge what we are sacrificing in being here today. I personally have been sleep deprived for weeks, and I'm missing class to be here today. I'm at the end of my emotional capacity to be here, yet I am here because this is important, and it is your job to make these changes to the policy that are clearly extremely screwed up. And I also encourage you and urge you to privilege the voices you've heard today that have come from those in the room who are suffering most from the unethical behaviors allowed by current policies. I also encourage you all to see through the conflation of the work of the students, staff, faculty, administration with the work of Katehi. Be very clear about whose work she's actually taking credit for. This is something that she has done many times, taking the credit of others. How can we possibly trust her moral judgment and capacity to take care of us students and this university when she has shown a clear history of failure and that she is incapable of doing that? Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else at the microphone, let me thank the students, and let me thank all the students for being here today and to say that your voices are being heard. And I want to thank you especially for, and I had no doubt that you would abide by our rules here, so I want to thank you very much. In closing, I think it has been, for me, a very informative hearing. Will help me as we move forward, dealing with all the stakeholders in looking at the policy of serving on both for-profit and nonprofit boards. I thank you all. I thank you to the panels, and look forward to working with UC as we move forward. Mr. McCarty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for holding this hearing. This was very helpful to me as well as we look forward to potential legislative solutions and remedies to this issue. We're still gathering the facts as far as how it all works. And, you know, clearly it was disappointing and embarrassing for me to see our local chancellor here conducting what many viewed as unethical executive moonlighting. And hopefully we won't see this at other campuses going forward. But going forward, you have to look back. And I think looking back, we've been able to bring these issues to light. And I'm very pleased that the regents and the CSU trustees are looking at strengthening their policies. And we will take them at that. But in addition, it's our responsibility and obligation as state lawmakers to see what we can do in this realm as well to make sure that this is a university system, both the CSU and the UC, we love. We want to make sure it thrives and make sure it works for everybody. And that's the thrust of this hearing. And thank everybody for participating.